heels of a terror attack in the UK, the president vowing to beat and destroy ISIS and keep us safe from terror. The left-wing media, however, is horrified. But what they feel is the president's failure to recognize climate change. And our next guest has heard some of the worst terrorists predict firsthand how the media, either on purpose, this is from his book, Enhanced Interrogation, the media, either on purpose or without realizing it, would promote Islam's cause and champion tearing down the measures put in place to protect the American people after 9/11. So, is the liberal media helping to further the radical Islamic agenda? Here with more on that is the author of Enhanced Interrogation, Dr. James Mitchell. Doctor, these are some pretty powerful perspectives you have. I mean, you've been in the trenches, you understand the threat of this Islamist enemy. What you're saying is, unwittingly or wittingly, the so-called mainstream media will pursue narratives that are unhelpful to our fight against these terrorists.
Yeah, just take President Trump's recent visit to the G7 conference. The media's hair is on fire. The liberal media are wringing their hands and wailing about the fact that he did not endorse the Paris Climate Accord instead of focusing on what the real danger is. It seems that some people in the press believe that the most pressing thing for Trump to be focused on is some hypothetical change of a few fractions of a degree in temperature years and years and years from now, as opposed to the very real danger of Islamic terror attacks here. That terror attack in Manchester should be a wake-up call for not just the UK, but for the US too.
Unfortunately.
It turns out that what they thought was a lone wolf attack actually was one of those things where the guy had traveled several times overseas, fought with Al-Qaeda in Libya, learned his bomb-making skills there, made multiple trips, came back, set up a bomb factory in a rented apartment, and then blew up all those children.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm a climate denier, then the folks that deny the threat of radical Islamists are Islamist deniers. I mean, there's a report out just this morning, 26,000 jihadis in the UK alone. I mean, do people really understand the scope of this threat and how not addressing it properly just enables it?
I don't think they do get a good sense of it. One of the things that I haven't really seen talked about that much is this emerging fact that ISIS has set up a online coaching. I mean, we talk about being radicalized online, but they actually do more than that. They provide training, and they provide guidance, and they provide advice, and they help spread news about what the supportive networks are online. President Trump, in my view, should be focused on protecting Americans here, securing our borders, protecting the homeland from terror attacks, and doing something about stopping the carnage in the Middle East before we start worrying about 0.2 of a degree and 1 degree of Celsius maybe 50 years from now.
Sure.
That Paris Climate Accord will cost something like $1 trillion a year and result in less than 0.2 of 1 degree of...
Of course. I mean, international regulatory schemes like that also transfer sovereignty from the United States to international bureaucrats, which is harmful in and of itself. But you were a part of the interrogation of the mastermind of 9/11, KSM. He said things to you about what would happen over the next 15 years, the way in which the West would react, that we would not be the strong horse. Besides President Trump, who's willing to call the enemy, call him out, and call out our allies for not doing enough against the threat of radical Islamic terrorism, are we doing enough, or are we falling into the trap that KSM predicted?
Well, the one thing that became clear to me in talking with them was that political correctness serves as a cloaking device. It allows them to operate in the open. And unfortunately, the liberal media makes that possible because they expose the secrets that have been keeping us safe and then wail about the way that they view the intrusions into the privacy of overseas folks who are actually quite dangerous to us. You know, again, these people who are attacking us are not unknown to the authorities. The authorities' hands are tied because of our approach to political correctness.
Such a great point about the poison of political correctness. When you control the language, you control almost everything. If you don't call it what it is, then you don't have an opportunity. Dr. James Mitchell, thank you, as always, for your expertise on this important subject.